Hey, what's up? Just wanted to do a recap video of my Nationals experience, going over like my matchups and just general experience, story time, and all sorts of stuff that happened. Before getting into anything, again, trying to start back up the channel, so if you guys could hit me up with a subscribe, that'd be appreciated. I'm trying to get back into doing this. I will be starting doing some streaming maybe tomorrow or later this week. Been seeing people stream Talishar, and that looked like a lot of fun, so I was going to try joining in on that. And also, I do not currently have a Patreon or anything. I don't feel like I deserve one yet. I haven't brought enough value, I feel like, to have earned one. But if you guys are looking to buy and sell any cards, I do buy and sell cards for a living, so anything you want to get rid of, let me know. So let's just jump right into things. So, Nationals, day one. I started off the day in as cursive a manner as I could have. So, sit down, have our players meeting, find out that I am now going to have a new best friend for the rest of time because Roger Brody and myself have very close last names. So, we are going to be sitting next to each other at every single players meeting. It was Nationals, Calling, and I think Lil. We all sat next to each other. So yeah, we're gonna be swell friends for now on. That was kind of funny. And then so we get out of the players meeting, get into the draft pod. So the way that they do it is they have the players meeting first, and that's to make sure that everyone is there, just in case anyone registered for the event and they no showed, so they can just drop all the people that did not show up. So then we get into the draft pod. Someone doesn't show up for the goddamn draft pod. What? You showed up for the players meeting, but not the draft pod? Oh my god. So, that was fantastic. And I'm like, alright, whatever. It's fine. Start the draft. I start hedging towards Icelander. I'm getting some good Icelander cards here and there. But then as the packs are coming through me, I'm seeing that most of the cards in the pack for Icelander in the back is just like brain freezes and ripples and stuff, and then even those start disappearing, and I'm getting just a bunch of Phi commons at the back of the pack and such. I'm like, okay, maybe I go into Phi. I'm gonna hedge a little bit, take a couple cards here and there for Phi, just in case, like a starter here and there. And then the last card in the pack was was it Rise Up, the rare that gives Dominate depending on the number of Phoenix Flames you played, and I'm like, last pick? Alright, I guess I'll play Phi. Start pack 2, and then third pick comes to me, and I look, all the Phi cards in the back of the pack are gone. So, both people to my left are Phi. How did this Rise Up go all the way around, and no one took it? What is going on? So, I get to the end of the draft, and then kind of figure things out after talking to people. I think at the start of the draft, we had 4 Icelanders, and by the end of the draft, we had 4 Phis. I was not one of the Phis. I ended up switching back to Icelander because I still had an okay Icelander pool to start. But it looks like out of the packs that we opened, it was a fairly weak Icelander pool. So even with 2 people, it just wasn't very strong. And I think part of the problem with that, too, was the fact that it was 7 people, meaning there were just 3 less total packs being pulled from in the pool to... So, Icelander's really hurt by that. And we have 1 Dromai in the pod. Somehow, just 1. I'm wondering maybe some of the people that were Phi ended up waffling to Dromai or something. I don't really know. But basically, we had a lot of people in the draft just flipping back and forth between decks, sending weird signals, so, not committing, and then kind of fucking up the draft for other people, forcing other people to flip-flop, hurting other people near them. The whole thing was an abortion. Everyone just had terrible decks, pretty much. I then proceeded to lose all 3 die rolls for a draft. Ended up going second. I had cursed games into everyone. I faced the other Icelander in the pod. He had the chest piece. I did not. I only ever saw 1. And it was I needed to take something else from my deck at that point. I don't remember what it was. It was maybe it was like as I was transitioning back into Icelander, and I'm like, well, I just need raw cards for my deck at this point. I'm just gonna hope I don't face the one Icelander in the pod. And then in the first 4 rounds of the game, or maybe it was 5 rounds, I drew every single red in my deck. So I had nothing to pitch these into to prevent damage. I couldn't play these cards because I can't, like, efficiently pitch play. And it's also hard getting them out of my hands because I can't pitch them to anything. So, like, it was just awful. And then I lost. I flipped over my deck afterwards and spread it out. And every card left in my deck at the end of the game was a blue. And I was like, all right. And then I faced the one Dromai in the pod. Somehow he lost his previous game, and I got paired into him, and I was like, no. Why couldn't I just face one of the 4/5s that'll cannibalize each other? No. So, ended 1-2 in my draft pod. I only won my first game, which was against one of the 4/5s. And then I go into CC. So for CC for the event, I brought Dromai. I'll be doing a deck tech on it soon, but it was very similar to Jamie Faulkner's list. We worked on it a lot over the past couple weeks. Really appreciate you helping me on figuring out some of the things with the deck, Jamie, if you watch this. Round 1 faced a Dory, and I'm like, all right, well, immediately going to have one of my hardest matchups. Never played against a Dory before with this deck, and honestly, I don't think I've played against a Dory since Monarch. Maybe I played it in Tales once, but it's been a while since I played a Dory. And then, on top of that, my deck gave me everything in kind of the wrong order. So I kind of went into that thinking, alright, well, I don't want to just give him dragons to farm Dawnblade counters on, so maybe in the first half of the deck I'll just throw the attack actions, and then I'll try to set D-reacts, and then on the second cycle I'll start playing the dragons once I've chipped him down enough. So instead, my deck presents me only dragons for the beginning of the game, like just all dragon hands constantly, so I'm like, I have no choice other than just play dragons. And then it gave me all the D-reacts in a clump, then it gave me all the attack actions right at the end of the game, and I'm like, oh my god, this is cursed. Barely squeaked out that win. I had at one point to just, like, basically say, I'm just not going to play anything so you can't punch a dragon, so you have to punch me so I can get all the Dawnblade counters off because this is getting out of control. And I think we got very close to fatigue in that game, and I basically got to the point where, like, my dragons are starting to threaten lethal, so he has to give me cards blocking on them, which kind of messed up what he was trying to do in his round. Very close game. Then I faced Fi, someone that I know, actually. He was playing the same list that Dan was playing, I believe. And that is the worst matchup for the deck, I believe. I think the only way I win is I high roll, he low rolls, and I get incredibly lucky. And that is what happened, and I still lost. The matchup is just absolutely cursed. It's just so hard, because they can just randomly run you over with the combo hands, and you just don't have enough to stop it, and then they get all the triggers into your dragons. It's miserable. And there's too much damage coming in for you to really set up into them. Maybe there's a way to win the matchup. One of my friends, Mara, was saying that she found the matchup to actually be positive. So I'm like, what are you doing differently? And she's like, I don't know what I'm doing differently. So we got to figure that out at some point. So promptly lost to him. At this point, I am 2-3. I'm like, well, I'm out for top 8. I could day 2, but I don't think that it's worth me playing this out and risking any more ELO when I can't even top 8 anyways. Because kind of where I was going into the tournament, I was rank 25 on constructed ELO, and that was how I was going to qualify for Worlds. Ideally, I don't want to use a PTI, obviously. But the difference between 25 and 50 was only like 50 ELO. So I could really only afford 2 to 3 total losses before it would kick me out, assuming people didn't leapfrog me and push me down. So I was like, well, it's not really worth the risk when there's no reward anyways. I can't top 8, so I'm just going to drop and hang out with my boys. And then we got some barbecue that night. That was really good. And then we go to the calling. So round one, I face my friend Shane, same Phi deck. He's one of the people that created the deck. So I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be even harder. He's the one that made the deck. Round one, I have to face my boy and basically just get knocked out immediately because at this point, if I lose, I can't play anymore because if I lose another game, I'm guaranteed out of top 50 ELO. So I sat down and I'm like, if I lose this, I'm just going to drop and just be out the money, whatever. Like, it sucks, but I can't risk having... It's like, I'm wasting $1,000 if I lose another time. And honestly, I probably shouldn't have even been playing at all because like the risk reward was too high. I somehow managed to beat him though. And I don't understand how. I didn't even play a single tome of Fiendel. I think what it was he low rolled on a round that I high rolled really hard, where he had a hand that just wasn't very good, like a lot of blues or something, and I went double or triple dragon, and he couldn't clean it up, and then I just did it again, and it just kind of created this snowball effect of, well, you're not dealing with my board every round because you physically can't, so here's an even bigger board. And he just like drew everything in the wrong order. Like the opening of the game, he just drew all reds. The middle of the game, he just drew all blues. And then he finally started drawing good hands while I'm presenting lethal. And he's just like, this doesn't do anything if I block. Guess I'll die. So that was really unfortunate. I felt bad, but like, it is what it is. Then I faced another Dory. This game was even closer than the last one. I think I ended the game with like 3 cards left in deck. Again, my deck was just like, what if only dragons? So then he got 1,000,000 Dawnblade counters. And then in that game in particular, there was like a point in the game for like a couple rounds where I was like, I need to get the Dawnblade counters off. And the way that the attacks and blocks lined up, I was like, all right, I can play around all but one thing. I'm just going to hope he doesn't have that. Like, I can't beat a route right now. I hope he doesn't have route. Or I can't beat a Twinny Blade. So if he has that, I get blown out. And he blew me out like 3 rounds in a row. Just, I played around everything but the one card and you had it. Damn it. But then eventually got all the Dawnblade counters off with just like a fridge 5-card plus armor block. And then he had taken a bunch of chip damage up until that point. So now that we were back at parity, my dragon started stripping cards because he was getting close to lethal, and he couldn't cobble together the win at that point, so I eventually got him. I think I mostly won because I had to burn them all in play, so he just ended up taking too much chip damage off of that right at the end. Then I faced a kid on Dash. He was like 10 years old. I was like, oh, wow, kid. There's like a couple little kids running around at that tournament, like his age. That's really nice to see. I like seeing like the younger people getting into the game. You need that for the growth of the game long term. Otherwise, we're not going to get new players. So it's good seeing young kids getting into the card game. Then I faced another Dash. This was like my second and third Dash game ever on the deck. So kind of similar to Dory, I was like figuring out what I was doing as I was going. The first game was against one of my friends, and he went items into me. The little kid went Pounder into me, and then this guy did something interesting where he like started one. I think he started like the pistol strategy with induction chamber, and then partway through the game he pivoted into Pounder, and then pivoted back into pistol, and it kind of threw me off strategy wise. Where I'm like, it made me like really stay on my toes of kind of going back and forth with him, where I'm like, am I supposed to try to fatigue him, or am I supposed to win on board? And I kind of have to pick one or the other, or I'll lose, but then he keeps changing, and it was a very interesting dance that we had there. But then he ended up boosting like all of his good cards at the early part of the game when he was trying to punch me, like just all of his reds. So it kind of turned into the situation where I'm like, well, if you keep boosting to try to race me, you don't have enough damage left in the deck to kill me. So I'm just going to not respect your damage and then go back to board state-based things. And then I won that game. Then I had a really fun game against Joshua Lau, the Dory guy. I didn't actually know that he was the Dory guy until this game. And then one of my friends told me, he was like, oh, you play Josh, wow. Oh. So we get to the end of the game, and I'm at 24, and he's at a very low life total, like 8 or less. And he's like, I gotta go for it now. It's the now or never. And he swings for the fences. And he goes like, I think, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was Steel Blade Supremacy, the +3 on hit go again, and then swings Dawnblade. And I block with 3 cards, and then he reacts to pump it, and I react to block with a sink below, and then he tanks. And he just sits there for like 5 minutes. Long enough that, like, if we didn't have a lot of time on the clock and it was obvious that this was one of the last important turns of the game, I probably would have said, hey, like, can you pick up the pace of play? This is slow play at this point, but, like, whatever. Like, this is an important turn, and we had plenty of time. I think we had, like, 25 minutes on the clock or something. He's like, I think this is it. I think this is the only line that I have here. I think I have to play this and get this and then do that. And then he keeps kind of talking out loud for another minute, and then it's kind of obvious at this point, based on what he's saying, that I'm like, oh, so you have, was it Singing Steelblade, the tutor? So we start talking through all the lines that he could do with a tutor, what's left in the deck, and we're just talking about the game, just having a good time. And I basically am like, I think I agree. I think that is the only out that you have here. I think that anything else you tutor doesn't do anything here, and you just lose. So the line was play Singing to grab, I think it's Glint the Quicksilver, the one that you go again, draw a card, because he wasn't going to hit, so he wouldn't get the go again. So he had to play that to get the go again, and then he needed to hit the only Twinning Blade left in the deck off of the draw trigger, and there was like 30 cards left in deck, so like the odds of hitting that were so low. And then he shuffles up and presents, and I'm like, you want me to give the deck a wet kiss for good luck? And he's like, no. Roll a d6 and put that many cards in the bottom, and we'll call that the luck. And I'm like, wet kiss or nothing. And he's like, give me a wet kiss. And then Mansant is watching, and he gives me some water to wet the lips, and then I pull the mask down, give it a nice old smooch. And then we both reach over and grab one corner of the top card and flip it over together. And it's the Twinning Blade. There's a big old crowd. Everyone goes crazy. Everyone's going, oh! There's like 3 judges come over. They're like, what's going on? Why is everyone screaming? They all yell at us to shut the fuck up. There's all these games going on. Why are you guys yelling? And we're like, oh, sorry. And he's like, okay, Twinning Blade, swing again. And I'm like, all right, I accept. Block with armor, I have a sink below an arsenal. You don't hit. This choice didn't matter. And he's just like, no! You had it the whole time! No! And I'm like, yep. Sucked the soul right out of him. Oh, that was such a highlight moment. And it was so tragic, too, because the, I think it was Tannen? One of the casters was coming around taking pictures of us, like, 2 minutes before that happened, and he walked off. That would have been a awesome moment to get on camera, but oh well. Then my next game, I play against really friendly, nice Oldham player, Max Thomas. Max, you're a swell guy. We both sit down and we're like, Oldham, Dromai, we're not going to time. And I'm like, I agree. Let's not go to time. And then we kind of make an agreement with each other where we're like, all right, we're just going to have a really fast-paced game. We're just going to allow each other to, like, go through the motions really quickly and then kind of clean up board for any missed triggers or anything afterwards, just so we can, like, not go to time. Because, clearly, based on him saying that, he wanted to try to fatigue me. And he was just like, yeah, I don't care. Do whatever you got to do to clean up your board afterwards. I trust you. I believe you. Just do what you got to do. We're just going to play at lightning-fast speed. We're good. I don't care about missed triggers. I don't care about anything else. Just do what you got to do to play the game. So then we shuffle, we present, get deck checked, and we're like, damn it. Well, now this really slow match is going to be super delayed by the deck check, so I guess everyone's going to be waiting on us. And they come back, we start our game, we start playing, cards are flying all over the place, we keep fixing things after we do things, judges keep going over and be like, whoa, what's going on over here? Why, you're doing the thing wrong, and both of us would be like, go away, we got it. We know what's going on. We have an agreement. Please go away. And they're like, no, you got to do the thing. And we're like, no, we don't. And in fact, can you give us a time extension for wasting a minute of our time? And then each time the judge would be like, what? And we're like, no, I'm serious. Another minute time extension, please. And it was really funny. The judges were just so thrown off by the our interaction with them and then back to our game. And then we get to the end of the game. I think we are at the last game going on, and we were continuing playing like this. And then I think someone in the audience. Oh, it was someone in the audience calls out that an interaction didn't work the way that it did, but neither of us noticed it. It was I had a Thamai in play, and he ult him Earth reacted to prevent 2 damage on Ash Wings, and we had already gone to the next turn. And someone in the audience mentioned that to a judge. The judge paused our game, walked away. We didn't actually know what was going on, and then the judge came over and told us what happened. And they were like, okay, well, how do we fix this? And Max was just like, I don't care. I don't want you to fix it. You got the win. And he gave me the fist bump and conceded, because he also saw, he knew what my pitch stack was, and he was just like, I know I can't win this game anymore anyways, and I don't want to keep dealing with the judge calls. Just, you got it. This is already deterministic. We're just going through the motions, and basically he's just hoping that I punt at that point, because my pitch stack deterministically killed him. There was nothing he could do about it. But it's one of those, like, you play it out, you know? And he was just like, I don't want to deal with this crap anymore. The judges are annoying us. And nice guy. We ended up hanging out and talking a bunch over the weekend. Just really swell guy. I really hope I see you again in another tournament, dude. And then next round, I faced an Icelander. He was also really nice. He was I guess from the Magic Pro Tour recently. Like, he got onto the pro Magic scene over the past handful of years, based on what he said, like, near before COVID started. And then he used that to help pay for him getting into Fab. So I thought that was really cool, seeing an ex-pro Magic player getting into Fab. It's always nice seeing those stories. And I beat him. So I ended day 1 7-0. It was really annoying, though, because, like, I faced all these aggro decks and not what I expected to face decks. I originally brought Dromai because I was hoping to face Icelander, the Mirror, and Oldhim, and so far I'd only gotten 1 Oldhim and 1 Icelander, not what I was looking to face. So that was weird. Then we go into the next day. I face my new best friend, Roger Brody. He's on Icelander. He's on the physical Icelander list that Hamilton was playing. I was not awake for this game yet. I made so many mistakes and stuff. And probably could have won that game if I was playing tighter, but I was just dead. Doesn't help that Dromai is just very mentally fatiguing, and like my brain was still not recovered from the past day playing the deck. Going to like 3rd cycle against people is just miserable. I really don't like this deck, to be honest. The other thing that stunk was that I like couldn't find any of my Ashwing generation cards for like a bunch of rounds. So he just kept throwing arcane damage at me and I couldn't stop it. And I had the blues and I couldn't stop the damage. I just couldn't find the Ashwings. So got a lot of free leak damage that way. I lost that game. Oh well. Next, I faced an Oldhim. I'm spacing on his name, but he's also one of my buddies from the Hyperloops. I bricked incredibly hard. It was one of the biggest bricks I've ever had. The top 10 cards in my deck didn't let me take a game action. And to make matters worse, it was all cards that I also wasn't supposed to block with because I needed them in my pitch stack to kill him later on. It was like Chromeyes, Miragis, Passing Mirage, Burn Them Alls, Legendary Dragons, and I was just like, guess I'll die. And then I finally was able to play the game a few rounds later, but at this point I'm already at like 15. So like I can't win the game starting at 15. He just kept punching me and I eventually died. I had one round where I could have gotten back into the game and it would have forced him to stop punching me, I think. I would have been able to go pitch a red Miragi, Furnace pitch a red, make 2, pitch a blue, play a Tomotai, kill his only AB with no Phantasm, and that likely gets him to stop punching me. But of course, that round, he goes, I'm going to Frosty Hammer you instead of punching you with like a 10 Dominate like he'd been doing all game. And I was like, no, I can't beat 1 Frostbite. So that was my only chance to get back in the game, and he gave me a Frostbite and I lost. So, oh well, it'd be like that. Then I faced 2 more Oldhams in a row. 3 more Oldhams in a row, actually. Next 2 games just went normal. I executed the anti-fatigue strategy and smorked them. Then, in the last round, I played against Isaac Kroot. I lost this game. I misplayed on the first turn of the game, and that was my own fault. I would have won the game if I didn't do that misplay. I was supposed to block his hammer with my card in Arsenal, and then that would have let me cycle my next card into the Arsenal instead. And this is like the second turn of the game. And instead, I didn't block that and just played out my hand, and he exposed me on the first turn of the game, basically. And I was like, crap, I misplayed. So that was on me. I would have ended up having like 25 counters on Ghostly Touch if I had played that round differently. But oh well, you live and learn, you make mistakes. Last round, I'm tired, mentally fatigued. It happens. We've all been there. Now, my real issue with the match, though, was guy was pretty rude. Anyone that's ever watched me play, I usually engage in a lot of friendly banter with people. And he was just refusing to talk to me basically the entire match, which is fine. Whatever, you don't want to talk, that's fine. I'm not gonna... You don't want to talk, you don't want to talk. I don't care. But the real issue was, like, at the end of the game, he could see that the game was starting to slip away from him, and there was a chance that he actually would lose, because he basically thought the game was a wrap when he killed the Ghostly Touch, and I clawed my way back in and started fatiguing him out of poppers. And I had set up a pitch stack with an Optimi with 3 reds and 4 blues, and I was trying to figure out if there was 1 more blue left in the deck or not. I just couldn't remember exactly what the pitch stack was at that point. I was counting the number of blues in my graveyard. And we're doing this as I'm doing my Burn Them All trigger to grab reds out of my graveyard to banish. And he calls Judge on me for slow play as I'm doing that Burn Them All trigger. And the judge call ends up taking like 15 minutes because they had to call over multiple judges to figure out if it was slow play or not. And they deemed that it was not slow play, but they were like, hey, do pick up the pace of play. And then, this was all going on as the turn was passing. So, forgot about the Burn Them All trigger, passed turn, and his friend in the audience shouted out he missed his Burn Them All trigger. And that basically cost me the game. That was fairly rude, trying to say that I was the one slow playing there when he was deadlocking the game. Pretty much at any point in the game, I would let him keep a full grip of cards. He would refuse to do anything with it. He was just hammering me for 4. This is a legitimate strategy you can do, but you can't do that in Swiss without going to time. Like, if you're going to take no actions to progress the board state and try to get the game to a deterministic win or loss, you can't really say the other person is the one slow playing. Like, I'm the one taking game actions. I'm the one progressing the board. I'm the one that's doing all the decision making, because all you're doing is pop, push hammer, pop, push hammer, pop, push. Like, you're not doing anything on your turn, even given a full grip. And, like, there's a couple times where I just said, I'm not going to play a dragon. I'm not going to draw any cards. I'm just going to pass with no... Like, I do nothing pass, so you have to punch me. And you would have a full grip with an Arsenal, just hammer. That is deadlocking the game. So, that's kind of BM saying I'm the one slow playing, but whatever. It's kind of rude. It was kind of funny, though, afterwards, the whole audience had a crowd watching. Really didn't take too kindly to him doing that, and they all came over afterwards and congratulated me, and they did not really care for him trying to rules lawyer me on that, so... That was kind of funny. No one gave a shit that he won afterwards. So yeah, anyone that ever plays against him, be careful with your triggers and stuff, because you'll look for an opportunity to rule shark you on it. Oh well. And then after that, I got 10th place. Oh, and then the other thing that was like, um, he was already seat 1 in Swiss. So at this point, it's not even like he's playing for getting top 8. The game didn't matter. I don't even think that dropped him from being first seed at that point if he lost. Not 100% sure on that, but it's like, it's also kind of BM to treat the game like that when the game isn't even relevant for you. There's an argument to be said for like, oh, like he wants to bump me out of top 8 so he doesn't face me again, maybe. But I don't know. The whole thing was just, you didn't have to treat the game like that. We're playing a game. We're here to, I don't know. I don't view the game like that. I'm here to play great games, not win through technicalities. But whatever. So got 10th place. Sag. Oh well, still had a good run. I don't think that I really want to play Dromai anymore after that, though. The deck was fairly miserable to play. Just all your games go super long and grindy, and it's not the kind of grindy that I like. I like grindy decks, but not like this. It just feels like an absolute slog, and I might still play the deck because I don't like any of my other choices right now. I might play Icelander. I might try out Dash again. I don't know. There's no Prism. I miss Prism. That's really what I want to be playing right now, and nothing really scratches that itch for me anymore. We'll see what happens though. And then my friends pooled their tickets from the Battle Hardened Inside events, and we ended up getting one of the big Dromai banners like that. It's currently at Jimmy's mom's house right now because she lives in that area, and we left it there so we didn't have to deal with it on the plane. So we're gonna get that mailed here and probably put that up over here, but I don't know. We'll see if there's any other better spots. Maybe right there. Yeah, and then I do want to get the oversized card to Droma at some point too, but that's such a pain in the ass getting back home. So maybe when there's one that's a bit closer that we can drive to, I'll try getting the Droma oversized card. I gotta get the matching one to go Prism. Maybe Icelander at some point too. And yeah, that was pretty much it for my tournament. We ended up going back to the hotel afterwards, having a few too many drinks, and then we were rowdy enough that the cops came, or the security, I couldn't tell. I wasn't the one that answered the door. Came to the door 3 times to yell at us to shut up because we were laughing too much. That was kind of funny. And then my buddy Dan got 2nd place at Nationals. Congrats, Dan. Good, fantastic run. Great job, dude. Yeah, that was pretty much it for the experience. Had a great time seeing everyone. Shout out to Mansant, Hamal, Peter from MinMax Gaming, Steve and Tessa. It was nice seeing you guys again. Haven't seen you guys in a while. I think I saw you at something at Jersey maybe. I don't remember anymore though. Brody, happy birthday, dude. I still really think that you should change your profile picture to be the meme of the blood on your hands. Judge Daddy Tim, it was nice seeing you again. Bree, Mara, and then Flake, DM Armada, Tannen, and didn't really interact with you much, but if you guys didn't see that Dash cosplayer, that cosplay was insanely good. I have a picture up on my Twitter if anyone's curious. I think her name was Rebecca, maybe? There's been so many awesome cosplayers, and like, it's crazy how many of them it's like their first cosplay too, and then it's like, wow, this is just a masterpiece, and this is your first one. Like, I really hope a lot of these people keep doing cosplay stuff in the game. But yeah, that was it, pretty much it for my Nationals experience. I'm going to be uploading a deck profile of Dromai soon, next couple days, I imagine. Just when I have a chance to sit down and do it. I still never did one for Lil. I think I might go back and do a recap of what happened at Lil for what I can remember. I was so busy over the past couple weeks trying to, having to learn a whole new goddamn deck because Prism LL'd. And it was the extra layer of not only do I need to learn a new deck and a new meta, but I have to relearn how to pitch stack because I haven't gone to second cycle in a single CC game since Monarch. So, like, that whole part of the game I just wasn't interacting with because all the Prism games I either won or lost in the first cycle. None of them went that long. Maybe I'd play against a Guardian and they went to first cycle or to second cycle because of Crown, but I didn't get to second cycle. But yeah, if there's anything else that you guys were curious about or any videos you want to see, please let me know and I will try to do that. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you.